The Port of Dover has huge importance as one of the UK's main trade gateways with continental Europe. Many billions of pounds worth of goods pass through the port every year, so it's essential that the port is able to maintain, improve and expand its infrastructure. But it also needs to grow and thrive as a business, creating more jobs and prosperity for the local community and the nation. The port's board is convinced that privatising Dover is necessary to achieve that.
Over the last 10 years, we've done a lot. We've built 2 new ferry berths and one of the major cruise businesses in Europe. But now we must do more to get ready for the inevitable future growth in traffic by building a second ferry terminal in the Western Docks and to develop adjacent land as a vital part of the regeneration of the town of Dover. But you know, to do this, we must have access to private capital.
Employment is clearly important. The port provides many jobs in an area with limited opportunities. Port activity supports around 20,000 jobs, with 6,000 of those within the port itself.
The Port of Dover is of huge importance. We support something in the region of 22,000 jobs locally. And if I can give you a few figures, over £500 million goes into the southeast economy just because the port is here. And of that 550 odd million pounds, 237 million of that represents visitor and staff spend in the local area. So that's a huge injection into the local economy.
Regeneration of the town and district of Dover is also needed, and it can't and won't happen without the port investing for the future. Ferry services from Dover connect with a number of ports in France, but there's strong competition from shuttle services through Eurotunnel. If the port is to stay competitive, it must have the opportunity to grow as a business.
Well, there's absolutely no doubt that we need more capacity in this country to deal with roll-on, roll-off traffic. And you have to step back a bit and look at the sheer scale of the industry that we have here. It's the biggest in Europe. There are not that many gateways into the country. Dover is clearly one of the most important. And our biggest trading partners are with our counterparts in Europe. It's not people in the Far East, it's not China, but it's people really on our doorstep. They're the people we do business with. So there is business there for new capacity, and it is agreed that looking ahead into the future, 25, 30 years, we're going to go up 3.5–4% a year for roll-on, roll-off traffic.
Dover was the first UK port to carry out a comprehensive 30-year planning process. It identified the need to build a new ferry terminal, T2, to service an inevitable increase in business. Once this major development is built, T2 will be the UK's second largest ferry terminal after Dover's eastern docks.
Dover takes about 70 to 85% of all our goods imports and exports. The government wants to increase our import and export of goods, therefore Dover is a vital component of that, and therefore it should have adequate capacity and adequate infrastructure.
Eventually creating and safeguarding 2,600 jobs, T2 will also act as a first step for developing Dover's waterfront and the town's wider regeneration. This is recognised by Dover District Council and Kent County Council, who say that the government's ambitions for growth at Dover can only be achieved if the port prospers and invests.
The town and the community needs the port. We need the jobs, we need the financial stability, and we need good prospects for the future. So bring it on.
But like most infrastructure businesses, the port can only fund its plans if it can access the capital markets and borrow money. Privatisation, removing Dover's restrictive trust port status, which dates back to the 1950s, will allow it to do that. Regeneration and development of the port infrastructure are ultimately part of the same plan.
The port has had no significant access to bank finance over the last 5 or 6 years. We had a small amount of borrowing in 2005. It's been made very plain to us that we're not going to be allowed to borrow going into the future. And in that time, we've managed to invest £330 million in the port in the last 30 years and over £100 million in the last 10 years. But that has been generally without borrowing.
Central to the board's plans to involve the people of Dover is the Port of Dover Community Trust. This will support local initiatives with cash contributions from the new port organisation, something that has been regularly requested locally but so far not achieved. In addition, an employee share ownership trust, ESOT, will involve all port employees in an arrangement that further adds to local ownership. Staff, after all, are part of the community too.
People in Dover are a community built around the port. We love the port, we love where we live, we love being near France, and we love what that brings, all the jobs. So therefore, the better the port is and the more financial stability that we have in the future, the better for all of us. It's our port, we love it.
So what happens next? Well, the Dover Harbour Board has developed a corporate structure which will introduce private sector investment. It's designed to deliver the funds needed to continue growing the port's capacity, while also returning funds to the government and giving a real ongoing commitment to Dover's community.
The scheme has three elements to it. Firstly, the new investor, the new owner, the partner in the port, able to invest, able to grow the business with us. Secondly, the community through the Port of Dover Community Trust, for the very first time holding shares in their own port and able to have value from that port as it grows. And thirdly, the employee share ownership scheme. The employees are major shareholders and we wanted to see them hold shares and gain value as the business grows.
So this is an exciting time for the Port of Dover, and with the help of the entire port community and the town of Dover itself, supported by new private sector investment, this important national port can continue to provide world-class facilities for trade and travel for many generations.